They better control Kenyon Drake because his versatility as a running back, catching the ball out of the backfield. We've seen this kid, in the return game as well. This kid has a lot of talent and a lot of versatility. They better control him as well as those two receivers because if that kid can create a couple of big plays, look out. All right, Kev, so let's take a look at what the Panthers will do. Oftentimes, they'll do this out of the pistol look if they're going to go with two backs. They also do it out of single back, out of the pistol look or shotgun formation as well. But it's just simple variation. When you have a weapon like Cam Newton, you can play him in the zone read game and really use that to your advantage. You got a defensive tackle here and a defensive end outside, and they'll really do this reading either guy. So it doesn't matter who they're reading. It's just a matter of what they decide to do, and changing that up creates a little bit of confusion for the defense. And that's the reason why they'll switch up who they use. So they may have a situation here where here's Cam Newton, you got a back offset here, and you got a back deep. They could do this with Stu and McCaffrey on the field together, which to me is probably the best bet out of this set. You can put Stu here, McCaffrey deep. And what they'll do is they're just going to bring McCaffrey across, Stu across this way. And what that does is if they're reading this defensive tackle, if he turns those shoulders, that's all they're looking for. If he turns the shoulders, Cam's going to pull that football back out and come this way. With him comes McCaffrey. Now, it could be a defensive end that's left over here, which generally they're going to block him. So this is probably going to be an outside linebacker or defensive back type of player. And when they do that, now it's 2-on-1. So now they're trying to decide if this guy stays disciplined 9 times out of 10, he's going here because that's his responsibility. He's going to do that right away on the snap. He's going to pitch man. Then
he's got to contain.
He's got to contain and go to pitch man. That's the first thing he's got to do. So now this leaves Cam Newton down the middle of the field. They've got to scrape over the top with a linebacker to close that out, which hopefully your guard was able to get to the second level and make that play happen and get that guy walled off inside. Or they're going to have to rely on a safety to come down in the box and tackle.
Cam's bigger than all those guys.
He is.
And faster.
And that's the whole key. That's what they're trying to do by running this type of set is they're trying to put you in a situation where you can't be right. Our buddy Dan Hawkins calls it conflict of assignment.
Yeah.
Talk about that all the time. If this guy comes up here, when this is going on, think about it. If he stays here and stays with the quarterback or what the quarterback may do and widens out, now you're going this way with Stu. And theoretically, if you've got the backside blocked properly, that becomes almost like a power play to the backside. If they've got everything cut off, he's able to either squeeze in between the guard and tackle, or he can bounce the thing all the way outside of the tackle.
And the opposite side has to have seals to where they
have to seal.
Create running lanes.
Absolutely correct. So the diversity of the offense in something like a zone read game with a guy like Cam Newton as the ultimate weapon with his ability to run the football and make decisions in the read game. The key for him, though, is he's got to be decisive, Charles, in terms of making those reads and those decisions.
Cam is like Charles. He's big, strong, fast, just a little younger. That's all.
That's right. But this offense, this particular play call, is all about being decisive in your decision-making and doing it instantaneously.
And a lot of it is ball skill. I think when you see to the mesh point, whether it's this guy in or that guy in, if Cam's here, you see how he rides him until he knows. Like if he's reading the end, and he sees this in going that way, making sure the linemen have to do all their jobs. But if he sees it, what he does is he says, okay, I pull it and I go.
Right.
And a lot of times you'll see he can ride that thing for a long time, but he's still looking at that defensive end or whoever he's reading off of. Because if you go midline veer, you're going inside to the D tackle. If you're going main line or outside, you got the D end. And it's just a matter of what they're calling it on and who they're calling it against. And they've done it a lot. But you'll see the ball handling skills become really important in this as well.
And understanding who you're running this against. Sue sometimes can get out of his gap integrity and fly up the field. If he's a guy that flies up the field.
A lot of people say he doesn't have any integrity.
Well, that's fair. If he flies up the field towards Cam Newton and they give that, he's not going to be there. Cameron Wake, same thing. He's a pass rusher. If he flies up the field trying to get to that pass rushing lane and Cam Newton keeps it and comes underneath him inside, it creates a big play. So the Miami Dolphins are going to have to be very smart in terms of maintaining their discipline on the defensive front against this particular play call. If not, they're going to get hit with big plays.
Do you think if we can get some zone read and maybe get, I guess a lot of people, I would respect Cam Newton more than Jonathan Stewart. They're going to go with him. So potentially this could be a breakout game for, and gosh knows he deserves it. He needs it. Is Jonathan Stewart could maybe get through the line if the defense is going with Cam.
Well, that's what it does, because everybody's supposed to just do their job. If you've got dive inside with Stu or that veer look, if that's your responsibility as a defensive lineman, you've got to just do your job. If your responsibility as a defensive end is to take care of the quarterback, you've got to just do your job. What this particular play call does is it takes guys out of their mindset of doing their job, and it makes them feel like they got to be a hero and make the play. And a lot of times that's where mistakes are made.
Okay, now, Buck, Reggie has expanded, and you guys have talked about this read option with Jonathan Stewart or McCaffrey and Cam running the ball. Can you pull that out and even drop back and pass out of this
when you
offense?
When you start out in the shotgun or pistol, that gives you the ability to be off the ball and really see where you're going, pull it. And if you have a design where it's a smoke route or it's a design route, it marries up. And they've been doing that a lot lately, and I think that's what they want to do.
Well, we saw a lot of that with Devin Funchess over last week. A guy Reggie's been high on since training camp, so it looked good last week. And we've got more college football now to talk about. College football, college basketball, pro boxing. Christy Martin's got a big card coming up next week. We'll talk about that and much more on Talking About Sports from the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill.
I got the red team in the points.
The white team's Penn State, so they're probably losing. They've lost the last couple weeks.
Shots
What
fired
happened
for
to them?
no reason.
What happened to them, by the way? They look like they went off the deep end. Wisconsin looks good, by the way.